Volume 18, Prologue. New Allies. While Rimuru and the others were waging a fierce battle against Rotor's forces. Here, in the land of the Beast Kingdom of Eurasania, there was an uninvited guest. A gigantic structure known as the Sky Castle was currently in the process of being built at the hands of various Magians. When the Eastern Empire invaded the Great Jura Forest, Geld, who had been in charge, left the construction site. Because of this, the main construction had been suspended. However, the rest of the work was still carrying on as usual with the remaining workers. It was Obera of the three Phantom Commanders who came to such a place. On the top floor of the Sky Castle, in the Sky Room known as a temporary office, Milim and Obera were confronting one another. The only other person present was Midley, who was standing behind Milim. All the others had been evacuated from the area, as they would not be able to help. Milim herself had sent Carrion and Feldway and was not participating in the war. There were several reasons for this, but ultimately, the most important one was the defense of her country. When considering things from the Empire's perspective, she could not deny the possibility that the Empire might invade through her territory. Furthermore, if she took the initiative to join the war, that would mean laying her hands on humans, which was not her intention. So Milim chose to stay behind. It seems that this was the right choice. "What business do you have with me?" Milim asked, addressing the miscreant who had come to take advantage of the opportunity. Midley quietly kept an eye on the proceedings, having absolute trust in Milim. He was simply waiting for Obera's response to Milim's question. And then there was Obera. She removed the mythical great armor protecting her body, and knelt down in front of Milim. "It is a great honor to meet you, Dragon Empress Milim-sama. My name is Obera, formerly one of the 7 original angels, and a faithful apostle of Veldanava-sama, the Star King Dragon." Obera was a beautiful woman with wavy black hair like the night sky. Her eyes, which shone like the stars, were also beautiful, and had a charm that could dazzle any who saw them. Milim, who had been excited about the prospect of a fight, was set back by Obera's unexpected behavior. "Ha!" As she stood there confused, she felt Obera smiling at her. "It is not surprising that you do not know me. When you were born, I was on a mission in the otherworld." Obera expressed to Milim that she was sorry for the delay in greeting her. "What do you mean by that?" Milim wondered. "Your strength is pretty impressive. Weren't you planning to fight me?" "Not at all." "Then, what did you come here for?" "To say my greetings and offer some advice." Obera raised her head and stared at Milim with a tense expression on her face. The conversation resumed in the reception room, which had been temporarily set up. Obera introduced herself once more and elaborated on what was currently happening. When Milim heard that her aunt Valgrand, the Scorched Dragon, had fallen into Feldway's hands, she wanted to run out to rescue Rimuru right away, but Obera warned her that it was too late to take any action at this point. "What are you saying? If this continues, my best friend Rimuru will. It is too late now." At this response, Milim became furious. "In that case, why didn't you come here sooner?" "I am afraid I have no excuse for that." Even in the face of Milim's furious presence, Obera hung her head, offering no excuses. Obera's position is that of a subordinate of the Phantom King Feldway. At this moment, she was under orders to defend the Palace of Monsters, and her visit to Milim was a serious violation of orders. Although she should have explained that, Obera only felt ashamed of herself for failing to live up to Milim's expectations. Seeing her penitent attitude, Milim had no choice but to quell her anger. "It seems I've been pretty unreasonable. Thank you for letting me know. Those words alone are a reward." As Obera continued to bow reverently, there was no sign that she was lying. Milim is able to see through the subtleties of a person's nature. She judged from Obera's attitude that she was acting from the heart. Rimuru is, by all appearances, a cautious person. "I believe that no matter what happens, he will get through this safely. Yes, I have faith in Rimuru. Yes. If you say that you're not my enemy, then you should know that I won't allow you to mess with Rimuru. I'd like to say, I understand, but I'm afraid that I cannot move freely. For now, I think it would be best for us to act within Feldway's trust. What will you do?" If Feldway gives her an order, Obera says that she will obey. However, if Milim wishes, she is prepared to defect from Feldway at this time. I can't sense any lies in your words. By your will. The whole truth, it is my heart's desire. Then I ask you, what is your purpose? As soon as Milim asked, Obera began to speak without hesitation. "Feldway seems to be plotting the resurrection of Veldanava-sama, but I consider that act to be irreverent. Your divine father will be resurrected without any help. And the fact that he cannot be resurrected easily must be because of some reason. It is very, very difficult for one like me to discern God's will." In other words, Obera believes that, rather than trying to revive Veldanava, Milim, his daughter, should be crowned lord. "You're on my side. Such arrogance is beneath my diminutive frame. I wish to be your tool. I have nothing to ask of you, and it gives me the greatest pleasure to be of service to you, so please command me." Everything was as Milim wills it. That was Obera's intention. Milim understood this, but was puzzled by Obera's resolve. If that's the case, then you're willing to betray Feldway. Well, that is just a difference of opinion. Rather, it is Feldway who is disobeying the will of Veldanava-sama. Obera affirmed as such. The tone of her voice was proof that she was serious. I believe that Veldanava-sama's will is for the happiness of you, his daughter. I am convinced of this, and therefore have no compassion for those who would do you harm. In other words, this is a story before a betrayal. To Obera, who believed that Feldway's actions would be harmful to Milim, her colleague was nothing but an enemy. However, Obera was wise. Instead of acting on her own, she had the wisdom to leave everything to Milim. She took great care to ensure that her actions did not interfere with Milim. That is why she risked her life to meet Milim. She would not do anything, if Milim so wished, but if she was ordered to, she would bare her fangs at anyone, no matter who they were. This was the true nature of the three Phantom Commanders of Obera. Milim was not blind to this. Very well. Then I will trust you, and make you one of my subordinates. Midley, is that okay? Of course, Milim-sama. I don't think there will be any objections. Okay. Then Obera, you are one of us starting from today. They're not here right now, but I'll introduce you to Carrion and Free once the war is over. Thank you. Wahahaha. Now, with Midley as the leader, I also have the 4 Heavenly Kings. I'll have to show off to Remure. As soon as Obera decided to join, Milim laughed heartily. She had decided to call her subordinates the 4 Heavenly Kings, in order to compete with Remure's 4 Heavenly Kings, which she had been secretly jealous of. If Free had been there at the time, the idea would definitely have been rejected. But fortunately for Milim, Midley was the only one present. I'm the leader. Well, that's only natural. No one knows Milim-sama better than I do. For Midley, his number one priority was always Milim. There was no way that he could oppose her, especially if he were to be given the leadership of the 4 Heavenly Kings. Rather, he was overjoyed and agreed immediately. Thus, Milim's 4 Heavenly Kings were established. Obera, who was suddenly appointed as one of the 4 Heavenly Kings, showed no sign of being upset and accepted. Milim's words were the will of God. Because of that, Obera gave priority to Milim in everything. However, a vexing problem arose here. Well, now then, what should we do with Obera? That is the question. It's at times like these that I wish I could consult Remure. That's a difficult question for sure. Should we have her stay here, or should we have her remain in the enemy camp and work as a spy? Either way, there are pros and cons. She really should think it over carefully, plus Milim wanted to hear from Carrion and Free as well. If possible, she also wanted to consult Remure. Unfortunately, Milim and Midley were the only ones here. What about you, what do you want to do? Midley was not the intellectual type, so he was not the best person to consult with. Milim, who was well aware of this, asked Obera directly instead of relying on him. Obera replied without hesitation. As for me, I would like to return to the Palace of Monsters. I haven't manifested my body here, so if I stay, I'll have to force myself to materialize my body. Moreover, Obera's role was to deal with the cryptids in the other world. Strictly speaking, monitoring the movements of Ivorage, the world-destroying dragon, was her primary mission. Koryu's primary mission was to invade other dimensions, and Zelario's was to deal with the Insectors. With the pact between Phantom King Feldway and Insect Lord Zelanis, Zelario was now able to move freely. However, it was still difficult to communicate with Ivorage, and Obera's body remained bound. Insect Lord Zelanis and the world-destroying dragon Ivorage. They sound strong. Yes. Zelanis is one thing, but Ivorage is very nasty. A world-destroying malevolence in itself, where coexistence is impossible. It is allowed to exist by Veldanava-sama's will, but must still be prevented from being released from the other world. If she stayed here, Ivorage's surveillance would be neglected. Obera wanted to make sure that Ivorage would not affect Feldway's plans. I see. Then you should keep on watching him. As you wish. But then, I wonder, what does Feldway plan to do with Ivorage? I am wondering the same thing. They were unaware of Feldway's plans, so their questions were only natural. Then Obera disclosed all the information she knew. Feldway was given the task to monitor Ivorage by Veldanava-sama. However, he intends to abandon that mission in favor of resurrecting Veldanava-sama. We are currently expanding the Underworld Gate, and as soon as it is complete, we plan to invade this cardinal world with all the phantoms and insectors. So, the expansion of the Underworld Gate was a long-term plan. Yes. But what are you going to do after that? Won't Ivorage be released as well, if you can't close the open gates? That is a possibility, and I told Feldway as much. But he didn't care about that at all. I cannot understand what he's thinking. Feldway is crazy. It is safe to assume that he is willing to let the world be destroyed, as long as Veldanava-sama can be resurrected. Feldway hated this world for taking Veldanava away from him. He intended to remake the world, leaving only those he had selected. If Ivorage destroyed the world, that may even be convenient for him. In other words, we'll be the ones in trouble then, right? What an annoying situation. Zelanis seems to be troublesome. He should just be sealed up in the other world. Milim and Midley look at each other and discuss. They had promised to play with Rimuru and the others, but the war had forced them to postpone. On top of that, Millam's mood had taken a nosedive with this new problem. In that case, I'll just have to send Feldway flying. It was an easy snap decision on Millam's part. That's right. Then Millam Sama, Midley, leader of the 4 Heavenly Kings, would like to receive the orders to defeat Feldway. Midley, who lives for Millam, agrees without thinking. Yes. I'm counting on you, Midley. I'll be heading into battle as one of the generals. We'll crush Feldway's ambitions with our own hands. Haha, yes. I am looking forward to it, so much that my arms are tingling. I'll show you what I can do. With Free out of the picture, it seemed that no one could stop these two from running amok. But then, Obera spoke up. Please wait. I have been sharing information with Feldway and the others since the start of the mission, and it seems that Emperor Rudger captured Valgren Sama's dragon factor. However, at the last minute, Demon Lord Rimuru interfered, and the final plan was suspended. That was enough information to make Millam calm down. So Rimuru is safe. Yes. The mission is now over, and Feldway is pulling back to base. In that case, it's too soon to make our move. Midley's right. With their momentum suddenly sapped, Midley and Millam regained their composure. They had time to spare before Feldway began his next operation. It would be better to work with Rimuru and the others, rather than to force something at this point. In any case, it was important to share all of this information first. Millam did not fail to understand this. Then Obera, you will keep an eye on Feldway's movements until I give you an order. As you wish. Keep in contact with magic communication. Understood. Millam and Obera adjusted a special wavelength that would work only between the two of them. It would take a lot of magic to cross dimensions, but with their level of skill, it would be no problem. In this way, a means of communication was secured. After such a series of exchanges, the meeting came to an end. Now then, I will take my leave. After saying that, Obera departed. Millam and Midley, who were left behind, were troubled by the prospect of a new conflict.